Hey everybody, back with a brand new Cabral Concept. This is our Friday review. Can't wait to get into the quick tip of the week. So instead of a book review, I've got a quick tip. It's going to be based on the product review, which you won't want to miss. One of the best ways to not get more microplastics in our body is to use this product review that I'm going to share with you. Very inexpensive, under $10 will save you from a whole lot of microplastics. Then we've got, as I said, that quick tip. And then we have two research studies, one on a common hair loss drug that also helps the prostate and may reduce heart disease risk in men. So we'll talk about that. And the last one on a specific type of water that actually improved aging, so longevity, in a 3-year survival study on, yes, mice, but this is now going to move more towards human-based studies. One of the reasons why mice studies are so helpful is because mice really only live for about 3 years. And so when we look at that and we can extrapolate the data, we can say, okay, well, those 3 years, let's just say, are equivalent to maybe 90 years in human years, right? So what's the average life expectancy? Okay, yes, 74 to 77. We can use that if we'd like. Each is then 25 years per year, or we could use 30 years. So that's typically how we look at mice-based studies. And it's the reason why that they can be excellent before other animal-based studies and then human-based studies. So I'm going to share that with you, specific type of water that worked phenomenally well across the board for all-cause mortality, and I'll share that data with you. But before we do, I always like to give you a little bit of a recap from the week. So I'm here in Maine, beautiful, beautiful Maine. Love it here, and it is hot, so you can see me sweating a little bit in this video. I have the great privilege of having an office in a very old, couple 100-year-old mill building in Maine, and it's one of my favorite places to be, one of my favorite places to work, but no heat, no air conditioning, just got a cool breeze when the window's open. There's no cool breeze here today, but heading back after this, so just another week or so, you'll see me back in my other office, my home office, and back to a different setting. So the summer certainly short up here in New England, but enjoyed every moment of it. I hope you really did as well. All right, podcast recap from the last week. Monday's show, if you missed it, was why many people will never heal, unfortunately. And I did this show on a Mindset and Motivation Monday because I'm always looking to give you then the reverse. Here's why many people never succeed. Let's learn from that. I've always done that in my life. So I've had mentors to show me the right way to do things, but I've also been in experiences that show me how not to do things. So when for 10 years, right, going to, especially the first couple of years, conventional medicine doctors, they were unbelievably cold, they were unbelievably rude, and they were dismissive. And so I learned from that, and it made me angry. There's no doubt about that. I was an angry kid, but that made me even angrier. And I felt like I had good reason to be, but certainly that was terrible for my health as well. So I've always learned that if I was ever in a position to work with people, I would not be like them. And so I've taken that with me. Then, I started to work jobs when I was in college and right after school, and they weren't the best jobs in the world. We'll just put it that way. And some of them were fantastic, and some of the people in those organizations were great, and some not so great. And I said, okay, well, if I'm ever in the position to lead a team, have my own company, I don't want to be like these people, right? And I understand it's stressful and nothing's easy, and sometimes people don't understand the decisions that need to be made, maybe as a leader of a team or a founder of a company, but certainly you can take takeaways. And so on this show, I wanted to share, here's why some people never heal. Let's do as few of those things that they do as possible, and let's do more of these things. So in the end, it's always meant to be uplifting and inspiring, and just realize that there are good and bad ways to do things. There really are. And the less bad we can do in our life, and the more good, or the less negative and the more positive, the more uplifting, the more we're just going to rise in all areas of our life. So that was episode 3111. And all these shows will be at stephencabral.com/podcasts. And of course, you can just head on over to stephencabral.com/3115 for all of today's product reviews and research. All right. Tuesday's show was, are you showing these signs of chronic stress and anxiety? I go through this simple and straightforward signs and symptoms of stress and anxiety. You want to note these because stress is the #1 cause of dis-ease in the world. All right. Wednesday's show was 80% of your collagen is gone by 60. Is that correct? Yes or no? And what you can do to begin to rebuild it. So definitely check out that show. I share with you the erroneous research that one company, they're one of the leading collagen companies, is giving you. It's actually not correct, but I give you the correct number, and it's still not good as to how quickly we use collagen and what you can do. All right. And then on that show, we'll also link up previous collagen-based shows as to how to rebuild it naturally. All right. Then yesterday's show, you have to check out this show, is the Mind Diet that cuts your risk for dementia and Alzheimer's by half. 53%, actually, to be precise. It's not difficult to follow. Truthfully, it's really not. You might have to ease into it, but without any supplements, without any exercise, without any of the de-stress protocol, the lifestyle, just the diet, able to cut dementia and Alzheimer's by 53%. So definitely check out that show. That was episode 3114. All right, let's get into our product review for the week and then our quick tip, which goes along with it. So I'm going to pull from this box right now. And if you're not watching this on video, you always can by my website, which is stephencabral.com, and today 3115, or right on YouTube. We would love you to subscribe. We're trying to grow that channel, reach more people. That is ultimately the goal. We post there every single day. All right, so out of this box, I am pulling what looks like a cylinder jar. It's probably the diameter or has the circumference of a quarter, and it's about 2 inches tall. And you probably can't see it that well, but it's a beautiful design. It's a bunch of honeycombs, and inside of it, which looks like you might have a roll of quarters, half a roll of quarters, is all perforated holes. And in this is where you're going to put loose leaf tea, or even the contents of tea packets. I'm going to share with you why in just a moment. And then it has a little chain and a hook that you can keep in your tea mug. So basically, this is a loose leaf diffuser. I wanted to share with you the one that I use and have actually gotten good benefit from, because some of them not so ideal. This one is stainless steel. So there's also not going to be any aluminum or other metals transferred to your water, which you do not want. So why would I say not to use tea bags? Well, in a previous Friday review, I talked about microplastics, and the vast majority of tea bags out there are, believe it or not cloth. It may feel like cloth, but it is microplastics. And when you put this in hot or boiling water, those microplastics begin to break down and they go into your water. And I'm not trying to bring any type of fearmongering or anything like that, but this is the truth. This is the truth, is that we are exposed to more and more microplastics. We need to be using filtered water. We need to be using as few plastic water bottles as possible, and certainly not most of these tea bags. Now, let's say that your favorite tea, you email the company, and unfortunately, they can't verify, or they use microplastic tea bags. All right, well, you can still use your favorite tea, and you can just cut open the top of the tea bag, and you can pour it into this container. Or you can simply get loose leaf tea, and you can put it right in there and get all the benefits from tea by just steeping it in this stainless steel container. And after your 3 to 5 minutes, you can just take it right out of your mug or whatever you're using for a jar to steep your tea. And you can just put this on a paper towel, or you can just, dump it in the trash and wash it out. That's all. So it's really as simple as that. I believe this was around $8 or $9 maximum. I'll link up the exact product I use at stephencabral.com/3115, but you'll be able to find it right on Amazon. So super simple, super easy to use. And you know what? It works great, allows you to use all different types of tea. Now, as I've said in the past, I'm not a big tea individual. I don't love the taste of tea. I actually it's not a thing that really works for me. I don't think everybody needs to consume it, but I have said before, consuming matcha green tea, which you wouldn't even need that for, and just mixing that with some non-boiling water, which I'm going to talk about one moment, is one of the best things and healthiest things that you can do for your body, if it works for you. And so what I do, though, is there are a few teas that I do like. And those are all basically herbal-based teas, which technically are not teas, they're herbs. And so when you look at them, it's not a black tea, a green tea, a white tea. What really I'm talking about are things like hibiscus tea, which I very much enjoy, or a ginger tea, or maybe a passion flower tea. And even iced passion flower with a little bit of sparkling water tastes delicious in the summertime, a squeeze of a lime in there. So all of those are great. Now, you can use this for your herbal teas, and you can use this for your black tea, your green tea that isn't matcha, or white tea, because matcha tea is a ground powder. Okay, so now let's give you the quick tip that's based on this. You do not want to use boiling water with most tea. What tea would be okay? What tea leaves would be okay to use boiling water for? Black tea and maybe the higher end of oolong tea. Oolong tea, especially the darker the variation of oolong tea, the more you could use hot heat. Now, in my opinion, you don't really want to use boiling water with anything, like not to that, even coffee, because you don't want to burn the grounds or the tea leaves. And so what I would say is you can go 200 to 205 with a coffee, 200 to 205 with a black tea or an oolong tea, a dark variety. All right. And those will be totally fine. And you can still get it nice and hot if you like that hot beverage. All right. So that's the first tip right there. Now, other temperatures. I talked about green tea before. About 167 to 172 degrees. I know it's very specific, but for a matcha green tea, about 167 to 176 really maximum. So it's within that 10 degree span. And that is because you are consuming the whole thing and you are not dissolving any of the extracts or nutrients out of tea leaves. You're actually consuming ground tea leaves, which is the matcha. So you don't want to boil at all the delicate nature of those tea leaves. Now, what if it was green tea that were the leaves form and you were using this diffuser? Okay, then it would be about 160 to 180. Do a little cooler if you want, to 180. A lot of people like to add a little bit of raw honey in with their tea as well. Let it cool a little bit more. All right, you want to get that at least below 140 before adding some of that raw honey so that you don't denature it. Now, would 160 right around there be okay? Yes, it would be, truthfully. It will break down a little bit, but not a lot. Once you start getting below 140, you're going to be okay, because none of that like pasteurization will take place. Okay, so that was green tea. White tea, about 170 to 180. So just a little hotter, a little less delicate, and the young white tea leaves, totally fine. That's going to be basically caffeine free almost. The oolong tea I've talked about, that's 185 to 205. The darker the variety, I wanted to give you that tip, the hotter the heat. All right, the lighter, the less heat. And then herbal teas, this is your 200 to 205. So when I talk about me making a hibiscus or a ginger tea or chamomile tea or any of those herbal-based teas, those are all 200 to 205. So they're quite hot, and that is to steep and extract as much as I can from those. And it's also for a longer period of time. So I will sometimes just keep it in there while I'm drinking it. I will let it steep for 5 minutes or more, where a lot of these, just 3 minutes. That's all you really need. And then somewhat depending on the strength of what you like. All right. So hopefully that was helpful. Those are all quick tips on temperatures as to how to make your favorite tea. I've done podcasts on this before, but I wanted to bring you back that quick tip for today's show. All right. Let's get into our 2 research articles for the day. The first one is on a popular hair loss drug for men. It's called Propecia, or finasteride is the generic. Now, I'm going to give you this literally just came out about 4 months ago. It was done at the University of Illinois, College of Agricultural, Consumer, and Environmental Sciences. And it was actually pretty strong. It was published in the Journal of Lipid Research, and it found significant correlations between finasteride use and lower cholesterol levels in men taking part in the National Health and Nutrition Examination Survey between 2009 and 2016. But then it went on to say this. In mice, which is the experiment that it was done in, okay, so they did it specifically with mice. At high finasteride dosages, they found basically a 30-point lowering of cholesterol, which is really significant. If you go from 230 to 200 in total cholesterol, and it improves your oxidized cholesterol, your LDL, that's pretty significant. It really is, and most cardiologists will say the same. So then I said, okay, well, there's a lot of men on finasteride. There's a lot of men taking it also for prostate-based care. And the typical dosage is 1 milligram per day, or 5 milligrams in the case of prostate-based health. But again, I'm not giving you medical advice, medical treatment plans, medical cures, medical diagnosis, but it's something that many men use. Okay. So I said, well, what dosage were they using? So I look at the study, and obviously this was done in mice, which I've shared before is okay. That's the starting place that we look at. But here's the dosages they used. So they used none as the control, so 0 milligrams. Then they used 10 milligrams. These are mice, by the way. So if the average male weighs 100, let's just say 180 pounds or so, and they're getting 1 milligram or 5 milligram, these mice weigh ounces. You're looking at, they gave them 10 milligrams, 100 milligrams, and then 1,000 milligrams. So these dosages are outrageous compared to what humans are given. So did it lower cholesterol levels? Yes. Is it a starting place for additional research? Yes. Can this be extrapolated for humans in any way, shape, or form? No. And so I'll always give you the unbiased, answer as to like, is this good research? Yes, the research is good, but there's no carryover, literally no carryover for humans, because the dosages would be outrageous if we did it on kilograms or pounds for individuals. So again, I just wanted to share that with you. There may be something to this in the future, but for sure, we're not seeing that quite yet. More to come. I always say more to come, but if you see that research study pop up, just know there is no equivalent dosage that a human could take as of right now. All right. So the second research, though, this is something that we can use. This is a mouse study as well. However, this is something that can directly correlate to humans. Great. So let's see what it's called. It's called Alkaline Water and Longevity, a Murine study or Murine study. And I'm just going to read it to you. I'll read it quick, but I'll give you my take on it. The biological effect of alkaline water consumption is the object of controversy. The present paper presents a 3-year survival study on a population of 150 mice. The data were analyzed with accelerated failure time, starting from the 2nd year of life. Non-parametric survival plots suggest that mice watered with alkaline water show a better survival than the control mice. Interesting statistical analysis revealed that alkaline water provides higher longevity in terms of the deceleration aging factor, as it increases the survival functions when compared with the control group. Namely, animals belonging to the population treated with alkaline water resulted in a longer lifespan. Okay, let's talk just a little bit more about it. Alkaline water, often referred to as alkaline ionized water, is commercially available and mainly proposed for electrolyte supplementation during intensive perspiration. Early studies on animal models reported that alkaline supplementation may exert positive effects on body weight improvement and development in offspring. Even biochemical markers were analyzed suggesting that alkaline ionized water intake can cause elevation of metabolic activity. In particular, I'm not going to get too deep on this. Okay, so let's go to a little bit more from it. More recently, studies were carried out on alkaline reduced water, referring to electrolyzed water from minerals such as magnesium, which is characterized by supersaturated hydrogen levels, high pH, and a negative redox potential. This hydrogen-rich functional water has been introduced as a therapeutic strategy for health promotion and disease prevention. Alkaline and electrolyzed water has been shown to exert a suppressive effect on free radical levels in living organisms, thereby resulting in disease prevention. Various biological effects such as anti-diabetic and antioxidant actions, DNA protecting effects, and growth stimulating activities were documented. Okay, I'm going to keep it there for a moment because it starts to get into other forms of mortality that begin with a C that I can't talk about on YouTube because it gets the video banned. So what are they talking about? They're talking about what's becoming increasingly popular, and really for good reason, higher pH, not high pH, not very high, higher pH. What are we talking about? 8.5 to 9.5 water, okay? So we know that that's already better absorbable. And we're talking about higher hydrogen-based water. So higher hydrogen-based water is which equates to a lower ORP, oxygen radical potential. And so this means that there's less oxidation in the water, and there's more antioxidants, which it's saying, and it shows from these results, it's squelching free radicals, which means there's not as much oxidative stress, which means there's not as much inflammation. Like, there doesn't have to be a lot of magic behind this. It does exactly what it says it's going to do. There are more antioxidants from this type of water. And I would say, at the same rate, you're also not consuming water that's oxidized, right? So like, not only are you not consuming oxidized tap water or even just regular filtered water, so that's great, but you're actually doing the exact opposite. Now you're supplying your body with more antioxidants to squelch normal free radicals that come just with aging, breathing, eating food, exercising, all of that. So I wanted to share that with you because there's lots of science behind this. I don't want to do too many shows on it, but I'm going to do another show that kind of go through this. A lot of people, they say alkaline water is all woo-woo and all that. Listen, I get it that our bodies neutralize the pH as we consume it through our stomach. So I get that. But we do know that those minerals in the water help with the absorption of the water. We know that, right? So the alkaline minerals like magnesium and calcium help with the absorption. But what we're now talking about is not just alkaline water, but hydrogen-rich water. And hydrogen-rich water helps with the inflammation and the free radical damage that also comes with aging. So what I've done is I put together a video, multiple videos testing all different types of water myself. I spent the money, I invested in it to share with you the details. You can find all of those details exactly for what we do in our practice at stevencabral.com/hydrogen-water. stevencabral.com/hydrogen-water. We'll link it up at episode 3115 as well. But keep in mind, this is also being shown to work well with pets as well. It's not just humans, it's working with dogs as well. I wanted to share that with you. It's what my dog gets, my dog Bachi gets as well. And we typically just use 8.5 water. Away from meals, we'll use 9.5 water maximum. And all of it is hydrogen rich. So I wanted to share that with you because I always want to let you know what I'm doing and also what I'm recommending to my private clients in private practice. So hopefully this was helpful. All the research, all of the links will be at stevencabral.com/3115. Have an amazing rest of the day. If this was helpful, do feel free to share it with anyone you believe it could serve. Take care, everybody. Be well. Thanks so much for tuning into today's show. Before you go, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I want to make sure that you're getting our daily content, not missing out on anything functional medicine, wellness, weight gain, weight loss, anti-aging, living longer, stronger, and all of the most cutting-edge research. And if there's any topics you want to hear, feel free to leave them in the comments below. Take care.